Every new technology is not explored. Every new technology, it's called new technology because it was just launched or it just appeared. And the process of transforming of a new equipment, technology to artistic medium is quite long.
Well, I think we live in the age of innovation. And I think to be ignorant of it would be rather silly. So I think that we have to embrace it. Now we have to embrace it in everything that we do in life. And of course, art and culture being something that is so important and intrinsic in our existence, technologies transcend that very much. Of course, there is a certain level of addiction to technologies, which is something which poses a threat. Yet I think if we manage it in a correct way, it can be very positive. It can have a very positive effect.
Human and technology is like fish and water. It's something that's coexisting. I think it's about the balance to find the right way to use technology and use it to the right amount. So you can benefit from it, but it doesn't overwhelm you in any ways. For example, there's so much debates on AI, so much debates on CCTV cameras. So I think that's interesting. I think technology can pose these questions and make debates happen. I think that's the most important part than to really know what's the right answer, like what's good and what's bad.
I think exactly the plurality and the nuances are the basics for our current state of mind and for our current state of consciousness. There are really good artists who make real good art using new media. And under new media we understand the variety of technologies that are also used in many different fields of our life. Very often it's difficult to put the margin, to put the border between like the proper artistic practice and, for example, game design. So, and these are all the challenges that the contemporary situations gives us. And we need to overthink the entire process, and we need to reformulate the notion of what actually contemporary museum is and how we need to include these practices into the current activity.
Another point which I think is very important is that new technologies, virtual reality or new media can allow people who are less fortunate than us to experience art. Because at the moment you and I, we can go to the Garage Museum, we can go to the Louvre, we can go to the MoMA, we can experience and see art. And there are people in countries and in areas where they cannot travel, they cannot not only travel outside of their country, they can maybe not even get educated well enough. So with the help of these technologies, we can bring art and culture to them. And I think education is the big billboard here. One cannot get passionate about something if you don't have the knowledge. And I think here, for example, institutions are very, very important to provide that basis.
So the consequences of this digitalization, they are so variable, there are so many, but it influences sales processes. So it influenced a lot the strategies of institutions who collect. It changed a lot, obviously, the artistic production.
Now artists probably get much more exposure very fast. Compared to before, it's really, you have to go see the show, and it really is like years of work to get to be a global artist. Now with internet and technology, it's really instant. If you don't react, someone else will react. But I think at the same time, because of the speed, I think because of the broadness, I can really see more and compare more fairly than before. Maybe if I only live in this city, I can only see the art here and select and curate and also collect art within your area. I'm excited to see how like VR can change art collecting, because I've seen now companies that do kind of VR documentations of shows. Because there's definitely limitation, I think, with Instagram.
Let's say more mature, older generation, as you call them, collectors, wanting to stay up to date with new technologies because they want to stay relevant. So there are many collectors that, for example, sold their flat art collection, the Rothkos, the Picassos, in order to collect younger art. And I think the younger generations of collectors, of course you might think they will only collect new technological art or new media, yet I think they realize very well that the artists base themselves on art historical knowledge and practice to create this new art.
When we are talking about science, technology and art, it's a super, terrifying, interesting process how the borders are melting and how the entire surface becomes horizontal. This is probably the most important achievement of this kind of things.
So I think disruptions are very good. I think generally I feel that in the art world there has not really been a revolution, an avant-garde so far, and technology is something which brings that. And for example, virtual reality is what I work with at Cora Contemporary, we work with, is exactly that. It's something which I very much feel is today's avant-garde. It's something which we will look back on as this cusp, this watershed moment when the artistic practices move from performance, flat art as we know it today, to something multidimensional.